All right, so this is the solution to the exercise in day 9, at least half of the solution. In another video, we'll cover the other half of the solution. This time is we're focusing on the query syntax to solve 9 instructions of working with this list of orders that we created through setup order. So without further ado, let's just jump right in. The instruction was to remove the to-do statement and to write the query syntax and LINQ to fulfill that requirement. So let's start off. I'm going to call this first one okay, so var newer orders. We're looking for a list of all orders after December 8th, 2007. That's easy, right? So from O in orders, where O.orderDate is greater than datetime dot, and there's a couple of ways I guess we could do it. I prefer datetime.parse, so I can get I can pass in a string and get a real date for comparison's sake. That may have thrown you if you're not familiar with that part of it. Then select O. Now we're just going to have to loop through each of them. So for each var O in newer orders, console.writeLine, and I'm going to use this replacement syntax here. I prefer that, quite honestly. So we'll do something like that, and I think we need just two things. We need the order date, and we need the order ID. So O.orderDate, two short date string, and then O.orderID, just simply two string. And let's get the first one and let's see if it actually runs. Okay, and it seems to. We've grabbed all orders that are after December 8th, 2007. Now you might say, well, why is this one included? Well, when we did our comparison here, we didn't specify what time of day. This implies midnight. Whereas our actual order, let's see if we have a time on our actual order here. Yeah, it was 1:05 in the afternoon. So if we wanted it after the day, you got to think of dates in terms of midnights. Okay, so that solves part number 1. Part number 2, exact same thing. This time retrieve only the order ID and the amount into an anonymous type. So what I'd probably start off by doing, let's copy this. And I don't really like to copy and paste code because it introduces orders, but for the sake of brevity, this is just fine. More new orders, and I'm just going to copy that and paste that there. Great. All right, so what's really going to change here is that I need to project into a new anonymous type. So that tells me I need to do that. And now I need to project into it the order ID and the order amount. So O.orderID and O.orderAmount. That was easy. And now what I need to do is just let's take a look at what we have here. Oh yeah, all I need from here is just the order ID, and we'll just, maybe I should have just done this in the first place. And then I need order amount, I believe, O.orderAmount to string. All right, so let's see if that part works. Probably should just typed it out instead of using all that. All right, so the second example here, you can see that I still get orders 9010, 11, and 12. It's just that I projected out only from the anonymous type that I created, only the ID and the amounts. Great. Okay, so that's part 1 and 2 solved. Part 3, find the order with the largest order amount. We didn't cover order by much, but you're going to need it. Okay, so let's see what we get here. Find the order with the highest order amount. All right, so how would we start this off? Well, pretty much the same. So var largest amount, largest, not margest. Largest amount equals from O in orders. And here I typically would do a where, but I want to look at all orders, so I'm not going to restrict which ones, but I am going to order the values. So order by O.order amount, because we're looking for the highest order amount. and then I'm going to do a select O. All right, so we'll start there, and then I'm just going to do a console.writeLine or console. Let's do this for each O in orders. Come on here, var O in order or largest amount. And this is not correct, by the way. I just wanted to do this as a starting point, and we'll just print out the order amount. Order amount. And let's see what that gives us here. All right, so we get 150, 175, 225, 250. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is change a few things up, because I don't want a list. I want the largest order. So I'm going to. There's a couple of ways I could do this. Let's do it this way. First of all, I can go ahead and just grab out all the items and do something like a console.writeLine O dot, or I should say largest amount dot first dot order amount, or yeah, two-string it. Okay, and we'll get rid of that. Let's run that and see what happens. All right, so, but first of all, that's not the correct value, 150. So let's make two changes here. Also, I don't like the fact that when I return from this query is not a single value, it's a collection of values still, and then I'm applying first down here. Maybe sometimes that makes a sense, but in this case, since I called this the largest amount, I want to wrap this query around and do a first on it here. So now it changes this type. You can see when I do that, the type has changed because you can't do a first on a single item. There should only be one item in this list now. So what I would just typically do here then is rip that out. So let's make sure that part works again. So we're still only grabbing one, but now I'm actually holding onto a single item, not a collection of items. So that would be the first improvement I'd make to this. The second improvement is that I need to add the descending and then run it. And now 250 is the largest. Okay, so now I feel good about part number 3. Let's move on. Part number 4 is find all orders that contain widgets. Now this is a little bit trickier. Let's go ahead, or you're gonna have to think back to some of the selects where we were joining the two values together using two from statements. That's really the key here. So let's start with just calling this var widget orders equals from O in orders, and then from OI in O dot order items. Remember, just like we did in the previous video, or back when we were talking about projection, where OI dot product name equals widgets, select O. Now when we do the method syntax version of this, boy, it can get complex. You're going to see in this particular case, the query syntax is a lot simpler. All right, so then this becomes easy at this point. For each var O in widget orders, console dot writeLine, and then I'll use this syntax here again. I prefer that. O dot order ID. So we're going to find all order items or all orders containing widgets. That should work. And if we were to look at our setup orders, we would indeed see that only one of the orders, 9009, does not contain a widget. So part 4 is finished. Great. Okay, so now let's move on to this next part here. It says we want to sum up the value, or rather the order amounts. So let's start off by doing this. O var order total equals from O in orders, select O dot order amount. All right, so now this is going to give us an IEnumerable of decimal, which is not good. We don't want an IEnumerable of decimal. What we want is the sum of the order amounts. So to do that, I'm just going to wrap this with parentheses and then put sum. And then it'll be easy, console.writeLine, and here again we'll do that. and then O dot, or I'm sorry, order total dot toString. Okay, so let's run that. I think we need another parenthesis there. Okay, let's run that. And if you sum up all the orders, it should come out to 800. So we're good there. Great. Part 6. What is the average order total? You know what? It's going to copy all that. It's almost identical. I'm just going to call this order average. Well, let's see, where do we go wrong with this? Oh, there we go. That's what that's the dangers of copy and paste, my friends. All right, 200, which makes sense. You know, if you have 4 orders that are 800 each, then they should average 200. Great. Part 7. How many orders have multiple lines or multiple items? Okay, so here again, we're going to have to do kind of flatten it out and do some do some work that way. So var multi item sales equals from O in orders, from OI in O dot order items. So this looks very similar to what we've done before, where OI dot quantity is greater than 1, select O. Okay, so that'll give us a flattened list of order items where the quantity of a given order item is greater than 0. Now, or greater than 1. Now that's not exactly what I need as I'm looking at this. So I'm going to have to come back to this actually and change this around. And boy, I hope I can do this on the fly. O.count. Well. Order items dot count greater than 1. In fact, if I do that, I may not even need this. Select O, and then what we really want to do here is get a count. How many orders have multiple items? Multiple order items. Okay, it should be 3 if I do this right. Of course, I didn't print it out, so we may never know. Yeah, I had something different in there as my solution, and I just realized as I was looking at it, that's not right. Multi-item sales.toString. Let's see what we get. 3. Okay, whew. Boy, I usually like to have those kinds of things prepped ahead of time. But when you realize you've done the wrong thing, I would have had egg on my face there. Okay, so I'm pretty relieved about that. Okay, next up, create a flat list of new anonymous types using LINQ to project the fields order ID, order item ID, and product name of every order. Okay, here we go. I can do this. Var flat equals from O in orders, and now we get to do the from OI in order items, or O dot order items rather. Select new, because we're talking anonymous types, right? And then all we got to do is just O dot order ID, O dot order item ID, or I should say OI dot order item ID, and then OI dot product name. For each var O in flat, console.writeLine, and we'll write out a couple values here, so I'll do this. And let's go 0, 1, and 2, and then here we're going to go O dot order ID, toString, O dot order item ID, toString, and then O dot product name, and that should complete part 8. And we've got a flattened list of all the orders, order item IDs, and products in that given order item. Awesome. Okay, hopefully you got that one. Now this one is tricky, admittedly. Ha ha ha. You can see that But I tell you what, this is valuable stuff. I did it the other day. I showed it to somebody who was only familiar with ADO.NET 2.0, and I showed him what I was able to do in one line of code, basically, that replaced several methods that he wrote. And he was pretty impressed with just how you could use LINQ to do that. Maybe not me particularly, but he was impressed with that style of coding. So newest orders equals from O in orders. Well, from O in orders. Select new. So we're going to select into a new order. Okay, we're projecting new instances of the order. And now it just becomes a matter of filling in the old value equal to the new value. So in some cases, it would be as simple as this, right? Except in the case of order ID, we're going to add 1,000 to it. Done. Next up, let's do customer name equals o.customer_name. And then you're going to start seeing a pattern emerge here. O.order items. Yeah, what do you do with those, right? Well, order items equals O.order items. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. Billing address equals O.billing address. You know, shipping address equals O.shipping address. Order amount equals O.order amount. And then the final one was we needed to change up the order date and set it to today. So we're going to set order date equals date time. Now we'll just ignore. We'll just ignore that the actual value inside of it. We won't even reference it as we're creating new instances of the orders. Now, for readability's sake, I like to break these up into different lines so you can see this, the assignment of these properties. And I even like doing this just so it's visually easy for me to see this indentation level here between these. I like that. And so then it's just a matter of looping through each of these. And we'll make it easy on ourselves. We won't print out everything. Come on, what's going on here? O dot order ID dot toString. There we go. And then O dot order date dot toShortString. I like that. And with that, if we run it, we can see now we have new instances of our orders. They have new order IDs and they have new dates. Awesome. All right, so I know that there were at least one or two, maybe more, that tripped you up. That's okay. Did you struggle with it? Did you use MSDN to help you find the answers, or forum posts, or even watch the videos again to help you clarify some things in your mind about how to make some of these LINQ queries actually work? I hope you did. Now, if you haven't already done so, make sure you do the same exercise but using the method syntax, because I want to impress upon you the difference between the two. I want you to be fluid and be able to use either one of them at the drop of a hat, and exercises like this will help you accomplish that. So we'll see you in the next video. Make sure you do it first before you watch it. We'll see you there. Thanks.